All right. Hello, hello. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren. I am your resident intuitive baddie, and I am going to do another read from the subconscious mind. So, I I was just uploading the last one I did with or the first one I did, I guess, because this it was something I was experimenting with, and I realized that for the end when I was pulling from the mushroom oracle to kind of get the last insights, that I think the way I want to do it is I'll use the dream tarot, the mystical dream tarot, to read from the subconscious mind, but I should use the mushroom oracle to read either how to bring it to the subconscious or something of that sentiment. I think it makes a lot of sense because mushrooms intrinsically do evoke a little bit of or some sort of consciousness. Um, so yeah, that is why I am here, and I have decided to film right now. All right, so first I'll pull the stones just to one. The main reason I have these stones here is pretty much to set the border for myself so I know where to place the cards um, on the camera. But I do like the sentiment of them having some sort of, I guess, part in the read. Okay, cool. Perfect. They're different. They're not all different, but they're different. So here we have, I believe this is smoky quartz. Oh no, it's not. It's smoky citrine. We have the opal here. Oh, where we go? Got jade over here. And then this is rose quartz over here. Lovely. I'm gonna get a little bit more on those before I actually start the reading. I don't know why. Actually, no, I do know why. Alright, so smoky citrine. I wonder if it has a different name. I feel like it has a different name, but it's pretty much it's a manifestation kind of stone. Citrine is more solar energy. Typically citrine is I mean, like it sounds like citrus, so it's more of a yellower stone. I think yellow or orange. Um but yeah, it speaks to abundance. Opal, I believe I talked about this already. Or I mean, I'm gonna talk about these stones. I don't have that many stones, so they're gonna all come up a couple different times. But opal is an amplifier for what's present. Um, it holds a lot of possibilities because the color here, it um, you can better see it in the light, but it holds a lot of different colors. And then jade is all about prosperity, safety, I think, as well. For some reason, I'm thinking about how when my daughter was born, my mom kind of got obsessed about wanting me to have some sort of jade jewelry to give her or something like that. She's way too small to give her actual jewelry because she's still in that age where she puts everything in her mouth. So I don't trust her with that. But protection is coming through, so that was there for a reason. And then rose quartz is typically for love. It could be inviting some sort of softening. I think maybe in the future I'll see what, if it means anything, where they're placed, like like how this is like top left and then bottom left. You like it's worth it. It seems like something worth noting, but for another time. Let me get into the read. So, like last time, I'm just going to pull 5 cards and focus on the 5 cards when it comes to what we're going to be doing with the subconscious, or what we're reading from the subconscious. And then ooh, I'll get a couple of the mushroom oracle to read something about the consciousness, about the, I guess, how to bring it to the consciousness, how to make it conscious. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Okay. Last time I didn't read reversals. This time I think I will, or at least I'll try my hand at it. Disclaimer, if you didn't watch the first one that I did of this, um, I am learning this deck, and that's why I will only be pulling these cards. I won't be clarifying like I usually do in most of my reads. Um, yeah, I'm. The thing about this deck is it's slightly different from the traditional tarot. Their imagery is a lot different, and it uses dream and imagery. So dreams are the language, are actually one of the only places that the subconscious kind of gets free reign to speak. And that's why it's just such a perfect deck to use for this kind of spread. So, yeah, that's the vibes. All right, so we are starting with the Ace of Pentacles, the Dreamer of Pentacles. I believe the Dreamer is a page. Give me one moment just to look at the book. This is what I mean by like it's slightly different. Mm-mm. Yeah, what I like about this is it forces me to rely more on actually reading the symbolism in each of the cards rather than to go off of the traditional tarot meanings. Although I do usually reference it as well. Okay, so oh no, that's not helpful. What does it tell you? Yeah, so the dreamer is pages. All right, good to know. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, we have the Three of Cups in reverse, and the Innocent in reverse. So the Innocent is the Fool. Let's get into it. So the Ace of Pentacles typically alludes to the start of a new venture. It could be a new opportunity that's coming into your life. So in this Ace of Pentacles, and we have this lady, she's wearing purple, so that gives her this what would you say? Um higher consciousness vibe. Very like connected to the divine. Because purple is very crown-esque. Um and then we have these two guys here. They're wearing brown, so that's pretty earthy. And it looks like she's giving them food. giving them bread. So from that, what I kind of see from that is like the divine giving you your bread, or giving you, I guess, the ideas to actually get some bread, or to ground your bread, rather. Sorry, not the ideas, because if it was Ace of Wands alludes more to ideas, um because it's more passion based. It has more to do with like the spark. I'm looking at, in my mind's eye, I'm seeing the Ace of Wands from the Light Seers deck, but I mean that's coming through for a reason. So maybe there's an idea you've had for a while, and now you're actually getting the opportunity to execute it, or to actually bring it into manifestation, and to actually get a start on it. But again, it's 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 almost in collaboration with source, I want to say. So yeah, it could be something that you've had actually in your mind for a really long time, and now it's actually a physical opportunity for you, or you're making it a physical opportunity for yourself. All right, let's and then next we have, okay, so the Dreamer of Pentacles, which is basically the page. So pages are usually a younger energy, like a childlike energy. And Page of Pentacles. Yeah, the first three cards are pentacles, are all pentacles. So let's see, for Page of Pentacles, Dreamer of Pentacles. I guess the dreamer represents pages because, when you're a kid, a lot of the times what kids think about is what they're going to be doing in the future. Not like actual kids. I'm thinking more the later age of childhood, like when you get from, I'd say, like 4 to 10 is what I'm thinking, or even to teenagers. It's like the age where you're thinking more about possibilities. I mean, we're always thinking about possibilities, but you know what I mean, because you're not at the age where you can actually take action. You're in the age where you're learning, and like you don't have as much authority because you still live with your parents. So it's like, I believe that's why they use dreamers in place of pages. So here in this, it looks like she's in a keyhole. We have a fox, a crab. The crab has this knight symbol, and it's also black. There's something about that. And then a rooster at the bottom. Also, the crab is seems to be wounding this wolf. Wow, what interesting imagery. But it kind of goes back to the whole thing about um, having an idea for something that, for I want to say a work or career opportunity that's materializing. Hmm. Okay, so I'm really drawn to the crab wounding the wolf. It's just so interesting. Let me see what they represent. Okay. So, wolves are wild animals, and the fact that this one's white has to do with purity and wisdom. Um, oh, I'm getting something about being a lone wolf. Something about your perception, like being guided by your own perception. And then okay, so crabs, oh, that's so interesting. Crabs move sideways, so it approaches things indirectly. The fact that it's black and also the fact that it has this moon symbol here, it it signifies something about something I was gonna say to do with shadow work, but like just um definite yeah, actually just shadow work or unconscious work. Um ooh, and crabs they live in their shell, right? Which they carry with them. So they they find protection within the home that they carry with them. So this might have to do with you navigating how you protect yourself or how you think you need to protect yourself, I want to say. This is really layered because this is something subconscious. So it's like I guess the way in which you think you're supposed to protect yourself or not, again, this isn't conscious. This is some from the subconscious. So on a subconscious level, you have been protecting yourself, or at least you, from an egoic sense, you've been protecting yourself. There it is. Because you haven't been trusting your own wisdom in trying to protect yourself, which is what the ego is designed to do and why subconscious patterning kind of does it is typically the subconscious drives. Okay, sorry, let me backtrack. So what happens in the subconscious is pretty much habitual. It's the operating systems that run 95% of how we live our lives. From an egoic sense, when when you're not really aware of your patterning, your ego, because the ego is designed for safety, can sometimes use the subconscious patterning to form habits that seem like they're protecting you, but might not ultimately be serving you. So, if you have wanted to be trusting your own wisdom, but on an egoic level, on a 3D level, maybe there are a bunch of things that are telling you that you shouldn't because for whatever reason it's not safe. You have been trying to protect yourself, but in turn, you are also hurting yourself because you're not trusting your own wisdom and you're putting wounds in that wisdom. You're like creating, I was gonna say making holes just because it's like stabbing it, but like something like that, where it's just like your wisdom, your wisdom is bleeding out. So that's the literal imagery here. Um, and then for the rooster here at the bottom, roosters are known for the sounds that they make in the morning, right? They I was gonna say they cock-a-doodle do, but yeah, it's almost like an announcement for anybody that's a farmer. They're like a natural alarm clock in the morning. So in this imagery, what it's saying is that, ooh, I don't know if you heard that. My daughter almost woke up. But it has this like announcement kind of energy. So there's something about you announcing yourself, or something wanting to be announced. I'm thinking about how this is like a keyhole, and it's like maybe the key to taking this from dreamer to living in your pentacles has to do with you allowing your wisdom to shine through and learning that the way in which you've been protecting yourself hasn't been serving you. Oh, there's a big part of me that wants to look at the guidebook, but I really want to refrain from it. Okay. Well, I'm going to put this card down for now, and then when I try to read them all together, if I need to, I will refer back to it. All right, so we have the Three of Pentacles. The Three of Pentacles usually has to do with people coming together in order to create something. Here we have, it's so interesting that there's only two people here, because yeah, like threes are usually where community starts, because two is a partnership, but then once it's three, it becomes a group, right? So, oh, unless the third isn't a person, the third is the tree. The third is nature, the third is the universe. How interesting. But she's in a fruit tree. So they're both wearing blue, but this blue's a little darker, but it still gives expression. So this is very interesting, because this blue is softer, so you would assume that that has to do with um a quieter kind of expression. But it's interesting because the one that's in the darker one, she looks like she's in meditation, she's praying, or she's praying, and her eyes are closed. So it signifies her going within, and she's literally within the tree. I don't know what fruit that is. It doesn't really matter, but the color of the fruit looks like a reddish orange. So it's giving off passion to me, like like creative passion, not like a lustful sexual passion. So maybe you're in collaboration with or you've been wanting to go into collaboration with someone or people. And what this card is kind of telling me is that as much as you are going into partnership with or collaboration with others, there is a sense of the fruits of your labor coming from the divine or coming from nature just as much, or grounding yourself so that when you're coming across these collaborations, you're coming through you're coming you're coming from a more intuitive place. It's like nature is going to help you become more intuitive. And I say that because you have the moon here too. As much as the subconscious comes out at night, like the subconscious has to do with your intuition as well, right? So the more you go in, the more you connect with your intuition, you're connecting with your subconscious. And that's one of the ways that people can get messages from their subconscious. I don't know what's on the ground here. They don't look like flowers. They look, or rocks. I don't even know. Part of me wants to say that they're mushrooms, but they don't really have they don't all have like a mushroomy look to them, but I'm drawn to them a little bit. They're also that like soft blue, whitish kind of look. All right, let's move on. We have the Three of Cups in reverse. So it's very interesting because the Three of Cups also has to deal with community and like building things together, collaboration. But it's more about celebration than, I guess, creating something. Because it's creation, but it's more, yeah, because it's more of an emotional thing. It alludes more to celebration than it does to actually creating something tangible. But the fact that it's in reverse means it signals to needing to do something alone or disharmony within a group dynamic. Okay, I'm just going to put in the upright for now just so I can actually see the imagery of the card. So we have, okay, a lion is here. That has to do with courage. We have a full moon, and it's a crescent, but I don't know which, I don't know if it's waxing or waning, and I also don't know the difference too well, to be very honest. But let's see. We have a cauldron. I don't know what that is. That's like a spearhead kind of arrow in the middle, and then we have this like kingdom up here. Are these clouds? They kind of look like clouds. Lion, courage. So the full moon has everything to do with shedding. It's like it's a completion kind of energy, and once you come to the completion or what would you say, the fruition of a manifestation, if we're going by like the manifestation cycle akin to a moon cycle, it's the phase where afterwards you start shedding. Now the crescent moon part of me wants to say, is uh, I want to say it's waxing because it looks like, I believe waxing is when it's dirty, or like the phase after the full moon. I could be wrong. But if I'm right, then it has to do with kind of the first steps or the first phases of like planting the seed, planting the manifestation. Because if like the new moon is like the idea phase, it's the beginning, it's the freshness of the cycle. Waning, or sorry, waxing is just actually beginning to take action. Okay, let's go back to the fact that this is in reverse. For me, it's giving a loan, or it's maybe you're lacking courage to trust people. You might have had partnerships or collaborations in the past that didn't pan out. I'm just gonna reach across to get my water. And as much as you want to trust them on an emotional level, it's hard to celebrate. I mean, something about celebrating your wins alone. You might feel like that at this time. Like maybe you're having a lot of breakthroughs right now, but you're celebrating them alone, or you're not telling people about it yet. You're not ready. Interesting. And then we have the innocent, which is the fool in reverse. So the fool is all about like taking a leap of faith, um, kind of throwing caution to the wind. In the reverse, it could allude to being hesitant, overthinking a little bit, um, not trusting the path. Oh, I'm trying to. There's a word I'm looking for. Yeah, not sure. Let me just put in the upright just to get the imagery here. So we have a snake. Snake's all about shedding. Ooh, I wonder what this orb is that it's protecting here. So interesting. The blades of grass almost give me like the effect of a wave, even though this is kind of like a hill. We have mountains in the back, so mountains allude to journeys. We have like this black energy, I want to say, seeping from its mouth. But I wonder where the green is coming from. I guess it's also coming from the snake, but it's just so interesting because as much as it looks like it's coming from the snake, it looks like it's rising from over here as well, then dripping down. It's got this teardrop thing here. This pillar thing, let's see, it has like 4 levels, it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to figure out what this orb is. It looks like the sun, or like it contains the sun. I'm hearing orb of possibilities. Okay. For this one I'm gonna read from the book. I feel called to read from the book for this one. I'm just gonna read the actually, yeah, I'm just gonna read the reversal because that's what it is. If the innocent is reversed, it warns against the instability of fan fantastical fantastical thinking and against naive oh my god, naivety. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Naivety, or being naive and wandering without true direction. Escapism and fantasy rule, and there is an unrealistic outlook on the situation. Enthusiasm is misplaced, and thus great disappointments manifest, from which the individual fails to learn as they cannot see beyond their fantasies. They are a fool who takes advice only from themselves, for so for for they are so wrapped in their fantasies they refuse to listen to voices of reason. The imagery is so interesting. I just want to look at the I'm gonna just skim the upright because why does the snake look so mad? Mm, it doesn't even acknowledge it. Oh, never mind. Okay, orb of light that shines from within the inner realm of creation. What's the snake about? Okay, the red serpent energy is ever present. A grim reality of the waking physical world pouring out the products of putrefaction, oh my god, and decay in order to recycle them into new birds. Serpent reminds the innocent that all births rest upon death and that death gives rise to birth. Okay, I get it. Okay, so let's look at this again. Okay, so this is death and rebirth energy. I don't know why they use this color green because that color green just looks like it reminds me of like a swamp. So I'm like, that's not a good representation of those. Unless this is supposed to just be icky death kind of energy, and then this is like the rebirth energy. But yeah, I what did I say before? Orb of possibilities. So yeah, this that is kind of what that is. I already forgot the description that I literally just read. What was it? The orb? Oh my goodness. it just shines from within the inner realm of creation onto the external world of destruction. Okay, it makes sense because creation, yes, creation comes from within, creation comes from source. And everything that born is born to die, is kind of how I'm reading that. So there's something here about understanding that the journey requires death and rebirth. But in the reverse, it alludes to, I guess, a lack of that understanding, I want to say. The guidebook is giving, what did it say, wrapped up, when you're too wrapped up in the fantasy. Ooh, you know what it is? So I just uploaded a video, and I think it's very relevant because the video that one of the videos I uploaded talks about how a lot of us tend to live so much in our dreams or our fantasies, or we put so much emphasis and thought into perfecting how we think something's going to go rather than to just be present and allow it. And that's what I'm getting from this card, is that there's something where you're not able to actually experience the journey because you're so wrapped up in thinking about how the journey is going to go rather than just taking that first step in the journey. It's like, it's giving that you won't even start because you don't want to start because of how perfect you want things to be. So okay, let's go back now. So you have an opportunity that's forming, and within this opportunity that's forming, your curiosity around it is being wounded because of your ego. And I think that sentiment is being alarmed or announced to you. It's like it's something that you are actually recognizing, and that's why understanding it is the key. Something else is coming through, especially so with the imagery here of the light and the dark, and kind of what this was talking about death and rebirth. It's giving duality. So it's like the key, oh, the key to your wisdom lies in what your ego has been trying to protect you from. I've been learning a lot lately about how the world operates in opposites. So it's like we experience certain things, or because it's the opposite of what we're actually meant to learn. So for example, if you if you were supposed to learn unconditional love, then you are always going to be met with betrayal because you will only truly be able to understand unconditional love when you are able to get over the fear of betrayal, or when you're able to understand betrayal to the point where you no longer fear it. So that is what I'm getting from this card now, is that there is something here where your greatest wisdom lies within what hurts it from your egoic state. And yeah, what if you are able to go within when you are collaborating with other people, because I'm assuming, or I have reason to believe that whatever this is here with the crab, whatever your ego is protecting you from, has to do with past collaborations. Just because you're at this time, you are being called to ground yourself in nature as you form some of these partnerships. However, there's a part of you that is still celebrating alone or taking these wins alone. On an emotional front, there's like this loneliness. I don't want to say loneliness, but it's just like, it's just you're on an emotional level, you're more comfortable alone because of past disharmony. And it's like, you might think that that's courage, but it's actually the opposite. It's actually a lack of courage, because courage would be fully trusting yourself with these other people. And, it's not to say that you shouldn't be skeptical and that you shouldn't, um, or that you should put too much emotional trust in your collaborations, but especially if this is something that you're passionate about, if this is something that you really connect to on an emotional level, this is something you love, then how can you not be vulnerable with the people who you're working with? Yeah, it has to do with vulnerability, feeling like you can't be, or feeling like maybe vulnerability is a wound to your courage. And yeah, it's like part of the reason for that is that you might have built up the dream so much in your mind that you're not fully experiencing it. You're not really there, even though it's happening. I just keep hearing trust, trust, trust. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what the mushroom oracle have to say. What So for this issue that the viewer is having, how yeah, how can they trust more? How can they bring this message from the subconscious to the conscious? How can they utilize this information? Introspection. Healing. One more. And nourish. All right. So introspection. Magic mushroom. So this all has to do with going inwards. If you've ever if you've ever if you've If you've ever danced with psilocybin, then you know that it's a, it's an inner journey, especially when you get into higher doses, like five and up, which is heroic. You what psilocybin does is it really takes you on a journey within your mind, and I always say that the only way or the way that I feel people have a bad trip is when they're trying to suppress something, because what psilocybin does is it brings up what needs to be released. It can often bring up your the skeletons you have hiding in the closet. So I on psilocybin specifically, I've never had really a bad trip. I've had super intense trips or like trips I physically, at least at one point, could not handle, but I've never had a trip that was scary um or traumatic, I want to say. Um yeah, like I don't feel that I've ever had a negative experience. So yes, in order for you to heal, it's going to require a heavy level of introspection, which I mean, as a subconscious read, of course, right? Um, but also make sure that you're nourishing yourself in this time, because the introspection part can take a lot of energy. You're especially if these are wounds that I want to say haven't been tended to in a really long time. I'm getting this imagery of how you know when when you have a wound or like a scar, and it's not healed properly. So then to heal it properly, you need to clean the wound, or even in some cases reopen the wound so that you can clean it properly. And I'm like seeing it being cleaned with alcohol, which means it stings. And then I'm seeing a cookie for that's not really nourishing, but I think it's what it's alluding to is just like making sure that you take things in stride, and that yeah, you do whatever you can to replenish that energy, the energy that it's going to take to to heal properly, because it's no joke. It really is no joke to be real with yourself, and to really look at the shit that you've been hiding away for a really long time. It's not easy, and a lot of people don't do it. So for one, commend yourself for being willing to do it. And yeah, whatever you need to do to nourish, if you need more rest, if you need to, I'm seeing someone taking a walk, so I'm thinking a mental break. I believe it's a mental break that's coming through here. And yeah, I keep seeing treats, like treat yourself. Give yourself a few little dopamine hits that aren't harmful. Um but yeah, that's how you can get through that. I will stop the reading here because it's pretty straightforward, I think. This was a good read. All right. So I really hope this resonated with you. If you would like a personal read, or if you would like to work with me one on one when it comes to your subconscious patterning, because my coaching containers are mostly geared towards bringing the subconscious to the forefront so that you can take control of your your habits, your so that your subconscious patterning is more conscious. Well, it's never really conscious. It's just the more that you are aware of what your patterning is, the more control you have over your life, and the more control you'll have over the decisions that you make and how you react to certain things. So, if that sounds like something you are ready for, maybe that is one of the forms of healing that you could try. Um, Link in the description to find me and to figure out, or to contact me and figure out how you could work with me. Otherwise, I want to thank you for being here and thank you for listening to me throughout this reading. And until next time, bye.